Annyeonghaseyo and good morning from Gumi, South Korea. It's a beautiful spring day, just winter is ending and it couldn't be lovelier. I live in Gumi with my wife, Allison, and we teach at a private academy called Quest. We decided to go the private or the Hagwon route because of our time requirements to basically quit our jobs and move to a different country. We have been in Gumi for about 7 months, almost 8, and are thoroughly enjoying it. We are in Central Korea and a little bit to the east. We are about 3 hours from Seoul and about 2 hours from Busan. Korea is called the land of the morning calm, and for us, we go to work around 2 and end around like 8:30. So we use our mornings to run errands. So one of my errands today in the morning is to add some more data to our phone plan here, so that we can do cool things like Insta stories. And so a little bit about phone. Basically, South Korea has really good fast internet speeds, and so we're on a sort of a prepay plan so that we don't have to lock ourselves into one of their contracts here. And we just brought our normal phones from the US, and you just pop in a different SIM and you're ready to go. So since we do live in a more rural area, you can walk most places that you need to go. But since I like to ride motorcycles, I opted to get a motorcycle as a second mode of transportation. As long as you get a international driving permit before you leave the States, you can rent cars and ride motorcycles up to 125cc, which is pretty standard for here. And it really gives you some flexibility in a more rural area. Now, rural in Korea, our town is about 500,000, so it's a lot bigger than rural in America. So the biggest way I can differentiate between like urban and rural in Korea is if you live in an urban area, it's going to take you maybe an hour, 30 minutes to an hour to get out into the countryside. In a more rural area, it'll take you maybe like 10-15 minutes, and you're in the hills, you're in the mountains. Let's go. So food options are pretty endless here. We just got a lot of veggies with different combinations of spices and maybe some fish and some sauces, radishes. Over here we got some bulgogi and some fish and some fried chicken, dumplings, and some sweet potato noodles they call japchae. Here we have a lot of soups and stews, a lot of vegetarian options, tofu, daejeon jjigae, some kimchi, some soups, and then we have some lettuce leaves for wraps and desserts. So we are so lucky to have 2 visitors from the United States, Seth and Emma, and I'm gonna ask them what they've been here 1 week. And we're gonna see what their favorite part. So what was your first impression of Korea and your favorite part so far?
Everybody is extremely kind and very, very gracious and helpful, and they just seem to really be excited that we're here. And I would say the food, obviously, has been incredible, and just being able to really experience the culture, because Gumi isn't a huge city center, even though it is larger than where we come from. So we're really ingrained in that experience.
This is my wife, Allison.
Hello.
Allison, tell us what you think about Korea or your teaching or anything.
All right. Teaching is a really fun part of my day. I get to hang out with a bunch of kids all day, and most of them are really eager to learn English and also like to teach you things, so you end up learning a lot about yourself and the culture that you're in as well. So if you're in the process of getting your TEFL certificate now, the best part is waiting for you when it's teaching in a different country. So it's such a great experience and something that will change your life.
So this is a local park. This is called Gumosan, Gumosan Mountain. Hiking is very big in Korea, and everyone gets out when it's sunny outside. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but the top of this mountain, they say, is shaped like the profile of a face, like forehead, nose, mouth, and they like to say that it looks like the face of a president of Korea that is from Gumi. So we dropped our visitors off at Gumosan Mountain. They're going to do some hiking today. Allison and I are headed to work. So today is also Thursday. It's market day in our neighborhood. So in the park that is right across from our academy hosts the Thursday market, and you can get all sorts of produce and snacks and clothes, and most of it is locally grown. These are all kind of local women that have plots in and around the neighborhood, and they sell their vegetables at the market. So they have plants and bedding and clothes and all sorts of food and delicious things. Wherever you live in Korea, be sure to seek out your local market. You can find a lot more of your everyday necessities and groceries at the market for significantly less. So a big part of Korean culture is kimchi and what they call banchan, which is all of the free side dishes that they give you at the restaurants. So this is just a place to buy home banchan. So we come to this stall every week to get some weekly energizing snacks for the workday. So Allison just grabs a little bag and a little scoop, and you just take what you need, and they wait. So they have this concept called service. It's they just give you a little extra scoop when you're paying in cash usually, but it happens at food restaurants, at markets. They just give you a little something extra. They have little places to eat. Occasionally in the park there are some just odd things going on. So we have group trampoline exercise today. So this is our academy on the 3rd floor, Quest Academy. And the market, academy, makes it very convenient. In the bottom here, they just opened up a bread shop, which smells so delicious. So Allison and I both have tattoos, and that is not really something they asked us during the interview process, and our teachers have seen them and haven't really said anything about them, but we just throw on a shirt during. Yeah, so we just throw on a shirt during the workday. Just throw on a quick button down, and just casually leave it open. And it has been winter pretty much until this point, so we haven't had a large opportunity to kind of have that discussion with. All that to say, if you have tattoos, it should not discourage you from teaching abroad. The Korean culture is in the past really against tattoos, and now there are many Koreans with tattoos. Just be respectful in the workplace. So quick wardrobe change from hiking. Now we are inside the academy. I'm in the room that my first class is taking place. So at our academy, you don't really have one room. You switch rooms every period. I teach 6 classes today. Made myself a little schedule. I just ran out of paper. But just basically tells me the name of the class, what room it's in, who's the homeroom teacher, and just what page we're on. So that way, when you're just kind of running from one classroom to another, you just like look down. A lot of times the kids before class will say, teacher, what page are we on? Because they want to look at the lesson, and if you don't have that answer right then for them, this just makes you not have to think about it. So this is our classroom, first classroom. Pretty simple, just has a whiteboard. This is probably one of a larger one. We have only 9 kids in the class. A shoe rack, got your clock and your projector, and yeah. So we have 8 classrooms. They are named after the planets. And this was, of course, before Pluto was no longer a planet. And then the 8th planet, or the 8th classroom, is the playroom where I'm going to be teaching today. Quick look, what's in my teacher basket. I'm not really big into accessories, so I just used what the teacher before me left me. But got a ball, great tool. Tape, pencils, got to keep some extra sharpened pencils for the kids that forget some. Just got some flashcards here. Got some extra phonics sheets. Got some scrap paper so that when you maybe have some free time and you're learning a couple new words, you can just have them draw something about it. You can use all of the awesome techniques that the TEFL course has taught you and just really incorporate that into the curriculum. Our classes are pretty structured. We have a lot to get through, but usually we have some time to do some more like free activities, and that's honestly what the kids look forward to. It's what we are here to do. That predominantly happens in our classes, the free fun activities, and the kids just have fun learning. Like I was saying earlier, we're teaching 6 classes today, so we have to be at work at 2. Our first class starts at 2:45, so we go in, we lesson plan for a little bit, basically just get our books organized, and now we're gonna get caffeinated. On our way back from the coffee shop, found one of our students, Yella. Even though we get off later in the day, the Korean night is really just starting. People usually eat dinner anywhere from like 8 to 11 o'clock at night, so we don't really miss out on the meeting. So we just finished our work day. It is 8:15, and we are headed home to eat some dinner, probably go out to dinner somewhere tonight. So a lot of people asked why we ended up in South Korea. So Allison, take it away.
So after completing our TEFL certification, or actually before, we had kind of weighed some places that seemed appealing to go. So we weighed a lot of pros and cons for different places, like financial things, being comfortable in a new country, while also having a really different experience. And so Korea kind of fit the bill for letting us live a really comfortable lifestyle, while also experiencing a culture that is completely different. Our own, but you don't have to give up like comforts.
First world. So Korea, is a pretty well-developed country, and you can access a lot of the international things that you are maybe accustomed to if you have to. Some of the benefits: free healthcare and free place to live, and getting paid well enough to be able to save some money and travel. Asia is a great jumping off point to visit so many other close countries. Overall, we weren't really picky about which country we ended up in, but Korea just happened to have a lot of great benefits, and it just really seemed to fit what we were looking for. We were both happy with our professional jobs. We just wanted to do something different and just kind of break that mold, but at the same time we didn't want to move halfway around the world and come back broke. So keep the questions coming, and it's like 8:30 here, but it's just getting to be like 6 a.m. in America. So a lot of you might be waking up and watching this. Just send us your questions. It's kind of interesting, even though we're on a 14 or 15 hour time difference, it makes it really easy to communicate with our folks back home. Right when we're getting off work and our evening time, our free, that's when our family is waking up back at home, and so they have some time to chat with us. Similarly, when we wake up in the morning, that's when it is evening and when they are getting off work. So it makes it really easy to set up some time. So there are a lot of different styles of apartments and houses in Korea. We live in what is considered a villa, which is usually there's a business or something, parking maybe underneath, and then 3 or 4 floors of. So we have actually 2 restaurants in our building, and one is a chicken place, which gets kind of dangerous sometimes, and the other is just kind of a traditional Korean fare, and it's been nice to get to know people. We have a convenience store right here, and then our grocery store is literally right there. And we have another grocery store about the same distance that way. So it really makes it convenient for being able to go out, grab some groceries, come. So the takeover is winding down, and we're just getting back in for the evening. Just had a really delicious dinner, and we have a couple other questions that some folks have asked. Someone asked why we went with private academies versus public school, and basically for us it was just a time requirement of Epic does intakes at certain times of the year, and it just didn't fit our schedule. For us, working at a private academy, it is a solid 30-hour-a-week job. You are the only teacher in the room in our situation, and there isn't a lot of downtime at work. You're constantly. Personally, I really like staying busy while I'm at work, so that fits really well with my personality. I know sometimes in a public school setting you have kind of dead periods or planning periods, which we don't really have here. I've spoken with a lot of public school teachers and private school teachers, and both are completely enjoyable. It just depends on what is the best fit for you. Changing topics a little bit, someone else asked if we feel safe in South Korea, particularly Allison, and I would say that by and large, South Korea is a very, very safe place. Allison, what are your thoughts on the safety here?
I've mentioned to a lot of my friends back home I've never felt safer than I do in South Korea. For instance, it's 12 after midnight here. I just realized I needed to run to the store to grab something, and to do that alone at 12:30 at night just feels very easy and comfortable, and I never feel like I'm scared.
Even in bigger cities like Seoul or Busan, we've really felt comfortable walking around late into the evenings, and it's just never been a problem that we've felt uncomfortable. Whenever you're traveling or living in a different city, maybe somewhere else in the world, it's always important to be aware of your surroundings and use your best judgment. For us, Korea has felt very safe. So that kind of wraps up our day. Starting out, walking around, running some errands, grabbing some delicious food, checking out some local sites, going to the market, checking out the school and the classroom. Thanks for hanging out, watching, asking all those great questions. I'll link our Instagram tags below. Definitely feel free to reach out and ask any questions that you might have.
Yeah.
Yaseo, and good night.